engagement plot is a romantic, feel-good movie that revolves around Hannah Knight, a teacher from Colorado. She is competing in the popular reality dating show Price of Love. The show tries to match 10 female contestants to eligible bachelor, Will Preston. Hannah is heartbroken when handsome Will rejects her, and she returns to Colorado to continue with her life. To her surprise, Will rudely interrupts it by offering an outrageous proposal. When the movie begins, Will Preston is hesitant about his role as the eligible bachelor on the Price of Love reality show. Still, he quickly assures his driver and friend, Leo, of his commitment to the task. Piano sounds follow, as preparations are in earnest for the show to begin. It's a beautiful view of a castle, cast upon hills and surrounded by nature. The contestants arrive on carriages, with awe on their faces. They drink in the exquisite castle, while Will watches them from the balcony. The show's host, Dater, introduces Will to each of the contestants. Women with impressive portfolios are competing. Some of them are stockbrokers, and others are Instagram influencers. The latter give hugs and gifts, while rambling to their social media followers. Will gets to interact with some of them, and instantly develops a deep connection with Hannah. The ladies discuss their first interaction with Will, and their impressions of him. They gush about his looks, but Hannah finds it funny that they already have feelings for him, when they just met him. Kelsey taunts her with the nickname Holy Hannah, and tells her that her behavior calls for an early eviction from the show. It's eviction night for the show, and 2 contestants are eliminated. Will presents medallions to the other 8 women, including the dramatic Kelsey, and Hannah, the latter of which has captured his imagination. Hannah is excited to progress to the next stage, and shares her good news with her goofy friend Kylie. Kylie is the one who signed her up for the show, and she admits that Will is handsome. However, Kylie isn't sure a relationship between him and Hannah is possible. Kylie assures her that Will has to recognize that she is best among the contestants. If he doesn't, then it's his loss. To bond with the remaining contestants, Will takes them on physical excursions around the castle. When Hannah is shown in the next scene, she holds onto his arms, as she enthusiastically talks about herself. She tells him about her family's store, Sweets Nights, which is run by her father. Will promises to visit the store after the show. During the question and answer session, Hannah finds it amusing when the host asks her if she is falling for Will. Tyson, the show producer, tells her that her response is unusual. He encourages her to embody her sweet Hannah persona. While Hannah feels that Will could be the man she will spend the rest of her life with, she worries about their different backgrounds. This response elicits approval from both the host and the producer. The show's network tells Tyson to make sure Hannah does not win the competition. If she did, the audience would find it boring. They would lose ratings and money. They think the dramatic Kelsey would be a better fit, since she would bring more traffic to the show. It's time for Will to get to know the contestants on a personal level, by meeting their families. Kelsey introduces him to her family, who appear to be the perfect preppy all-American family. Her father and mother act like they are reading from a well-rehearsed script, while her younger brother, Karsten, causes a hilarious scene. Will finds it funny and interesting, because the boy is the only one acting normal. Kelsey seems interested in Will's eco-friendly cosmetic business, and tells about the company to her parents. At the end of the visit, she apologizes to him for the mess her family created, but he brushes it off and tells her not to worry. She initiates a passionate moment, but Will doesn't seem to be enthusiastic about it. In the next scene, Will and the crew visit Hannah and her father, Jim, in Colorado. Over food, Jim expresses his dislike for the whole reality dating show. The meal reminds Will of his own family, who he has not seen for some time. Hannah is surprised to hear Will talk about his family, since he has never mentioned them. Jim later confides in Hannah that he likes Will, and she expresses her concern to him. She can't get over the fact that they are both from different worlds, but she feels that they can make things work, because they have a strong connection. It's close to the end of the show, and host Dater and the producer interview Will. Will thinks that Kelsey is filled with a lot of energy, but she should channel it into business instead of romance. He feels a deeper connection with Hannah, and thinks that there is a greater possibility that he will be choosing her. In a bid to steer Will's mind away from Hannah, as the network instructed him, Tyson misconstrues what Hannah said to her father. He makes it sound like Hannah has doubts about her relationship with Will. Will is devastated at this new information. He finds it difficult to choose between Hannah, who seemingly has doubts about their relationship, and Kelsey, who is very optimistic about being with him. It's the final day, and Will and Hannah are outside the castle. Will looks dashing in a fitted suit, and Hannah is happy. She is certain that he will select her, and is devastated when he doesn't. Will tells her that the lives they lead are too different, and he cannot choose her. Crushed, Hannah breaks down in tears. Will approaches an expectant Kelsey, who waits for him on the path. He declares his love to her, and proposes to her with a ring. Kelsey is ecstatic about the proposal. She accepts it and keeps fawning over the ring. Even though they are sharing a personal moment, she is the only one who looks excited. 4 months later, Will is in trouble with his company. It has been declining in sales since the show ended. Customers are not happy about his breakup with America's sweetheart Hannah. Coupled with Kelsey calling off their engagement, when she realized that the company was not financially buoyant, Things were not going well for Will. His board gives him an ultimatum: make up with Hannah and regain the trust of the public, or lose the company completely. The next scene shows Hannah, who has immersed herself in her old life, teaching her 5th grade class. She is surprised to hear from the kids in her class that Kelsey and Will have broken up. She visits her father at his store and is approached for a selfie by a customer who recognizes her from the show. She informs her father of the split and is surprised to learn that he is aware of it already. Jim claims he didn't tell her because he wants to protect her. Although he is not a fan of the show, he appreciates it for putting their store on the map and bringing in more customers. He remembers his wife, who would have made a better store owner than he would ever think of being. Hannah assures him that she is here to help him in the business, and a mailman brings in the mail. Her father rushes over and takes them, before she can catch a glimpse of them. Hannah is grading her students' papers when her friend Kylie video calls her. It's a lighthearted and funny discussion between the two friends. They talk about Will and Kelsey's split, which Kylie has been dying to ask about. She tries to find out from Hannah if she hopes to return to Will, now that Kelsey is out of the picture. Hannah informs her that she does not have any intentions of reaching out to Will. No matter how rich and handsome he might be, he still stomped on her hard on national TV. It's nightfall, and Jim stops to help a stranger with their car. He is surprised to see that the stranger is Will. Will tells him that he is in Colorado to see Hannah. Jim drives him to his house and calls Hannah to come out. When she sees Will, she escapes back to the house in defiance. She informs Kylie about the new development. Kylie tells her to find out why he is here, but she does not budge. Jim invites Will into his house and advises him to make himself comfortable on the couch. It is already late, and his car needs to be fixed. Hannah is looking through the comments on Kelsey and Will's photo, and appears to be quite affected by the hateful remarks directed at her. However, she is much happier as she reads the supportive comments left under her pictures with Will, and smiles widely. She is wearing the medallion that Will gave her on the show, as a reminder of the wonderful experiences they had together. The next morning, Will is still on the couch snoring, while Hannah comes out for some coffee. When she notices that the now awake Will is the one on the couch, she stomps out of the house in a fit. Jim informs Will that it would be difficult to get Hannah to talk to him, and he volunteers to help Will take his car to the shop for servicing. Hannah is back from school and is surprised to still find Will in her house. She gives in and decides to hear him out. They take a walk on the grounds, and Will apologizes for what happened during the show. He admits that Tyson played him and made him choose Kelsey over her, but Hannah dismisses it all. Will informs her that there was nothing between him and Kelsey. They seldom spoke and lived in different places. He also informed her that millions of her fans, who were mad at him, boycotted his company, which has led to an enormous decrease in their sales. Hannah finds it difficult to believe this. She had no idea that her fans would do that for her. In a bid to save his company, Will brings up a fake engagement plot made by the board of his company. The plot involves making up with Hannah and getting engaged to her to fix the bad press image he is going on. Hannah finds the proposal funny. She has nothing to gain from it, except putting her heart on the line for the second time. She is so hurt by the proposal that she barely musters enough strength to reject it and walk away from Will, who is left speechless. Hannah does not appreciate Will's continued presence in their house. She is jealous that he is swapping stories with her dad and hanging out with him. Will informs her that he is still stranded and cannot afford an Uber due to his financial situation. It amuses her when she finds out that Will plans to go fly fishing with her father. Jim works him through the process of fly fishing, and they swap stories about Hannah. Will tries to clear the air, tells Jim the reason for his trip, and informs him that he never stopped caring for Hannah. Jim informs him that Hannah will only change her mind if she finds out that he genuinely cares for her and isn't just putting an act on for the cameras. Kylie visits Hannah and finds it funny that preppy boy Will has gone fly fishing. On their way to Sweet Nights, she tries to convince Hannah to agree to the engagement proposal because she feels it might lead to a happily ever after. At the shop, Hannah tries to arrange a few things and comes across some mail that shows that the store owes lots of money. She feels bad about it because she had no idea things have gotten so bad at the store. At home, she meets with Will and agrees to take part in the engagement plot. She plans to spend the money she will get on her father's business. Will is elated to hear this, and they plan to leave the next day. Her father doesn't understand why she changed her mind, but supports her nonetheless. Hannah promises him that she won't lose her heart in the process. Will tries to prepare Hannah from the press onslaught, as his team has tipped the press off about their reunion. Leo, who is driving them, develops great respect for Hannah. Will wants her to stay with him in his condo, but Hannah refuses. She wants to live up to her Holy Hannah nickname, and won't be chucking her morals away for the sake of his plot. Will unwillingly agrees, and they go to drop her off at the hotel. The press and some of Hannah's fans who have been tipped off are already waiting for them at the hotel. Hannah and Will get right into the action. She happily informs them that they are back together, which elicits cheers from the happy crowd. Hannah is the star of the show, as she draws Will close to her, and they share a private moment before going inside. Will is still shocked at the public display of affection, but Hannah tells him not to get too used to it. She meets with Doug, the man behind the engagement plot idea, and he hands her the keys to the room that has been booked for her. In the car, Leo tells Will that he likes Hannah and believes only a moron would break her heart. Will feels attacked by this and promises not to break her heart a second time. Hannah joins them from the back entrance of the hotel, all in a bid to outsmart the crowd waiting outside. They go ring shopping at a high-end jewelry store. Will tells her to pick any ring of her choice, as the company will be paying for it. The host uncomfortably makes a show of presenting a set of expensive rings to Hannah and Will, who have no idea that Doug already signed a promotional contract with the jewelry store. An oblivious Hannah is hesitant to try them on, but when she does, she rejects them all because of their size. She gets emotional when she sees a simple ring. It reminds her of her mom's engagement ring that they sold during a financial crisis, and she decides to choose it. Doug signals Will and hands over a box to him, containing a statement ring capable of drawing attention to Hannah. Leo is not impressed with Doug's antics and shakes his head anxiously. Will approaches Hannah with trepidation and informs her that they already have a ring. Hannah accepts the ring as she embarrassingly drops her preferred ring choice. In the car, Hannah assures Will that she is okay with the company's choice over her own simple ring choice. To make her feel better, Will decides to take her out for lunch. They arrive at the fancy restaurant that Will reserve for just the two of them, to wait off the press and crowd. Hannah continues to apologize for the incident at the jewelry store and realizes the need to keep up appearances so that their engagement plot works perfectly. In an unguarded moment, Will tries to find out if she wished they met under different circumstances, especially one where there are no cameras fixed on them. Hannah finds the question difficult to answer. They met through the show and weren't likely to cross paths otherwise. They chat about how they ended up on the show, and Will tells her that she does not come across as someone who would willingly participate in it. She tells him that her friend Kylie signed her up for the show without her knowledge, but she decided to go along with it when the producers called. Will tells her that Doug thought it was good for their business, so he blindly went along with it. He tells her about his vision to build something meaningful for people, and he confides in Hannah that he has lost sight of this vision in his pursuit of wealth. He thinks it's too late to go back to his dream, but Hannah assures him that it is never too late. Tyson ambushes Will on a walking path. He reminds Will that the contract between them has not yet elapsed, and he proposes that the network hosts an interview with Will and Hannah. Will tries to argue with him, but Tyson threatens him with taking the full story to the press. Tyson informs Will that he knows that the newfound engagement between him and Hannah is fake, and aimed to improve his company's falling sales. Will is shocked at Tyson's cold and calculated plan, and cannot imagine how he put up with him during the show. On their way to visit Will's parents, he finds it difficult to inform Hannah about his encounter with Tyson. He chickens out and only informs her that his parents are not aware that their relationship is fake, so they expect them to be in love. Hannah does not know how to feel about this. She can pretend all she wants for the camera, but she draws the line at lying to his parents. Will assures her that he will tell them the truth once he gets an opportunity. Leo supports Hannah on this. He advises Will not to let the plot burn him in the end, and Will is surprised at the blossoming camaraderie between Hannah and Leo. When they arrive there, Will's parents are so happy to meet Hannah, who instantly connects with his mom. She showers Hannah with lots of gifts and promises her a surprise. Hannah already feels bad for deceiving her. She reminds Will to tell them the truth, and he agrees to do so when they get back from the surprise. They meet in the kitchen, and Will's mom gives Hannah her first surprise, Jim and Kylie. Hannah loves the gift and is happy to be surrounded by familiar faces for moral support. Her second surprise finds her in a bridal store with Kylie. Hannah looks gorgeous in an off-shoulder wedding dress, but her feelings are everywhere. Kylie urges Hannah to go with the flow, even if it means being a princess for one day. Mrs. Kent coos at Hannah and informs her that she and her husband will pay for her wedding dress. The news excites Hannah and leaves her speechless. In the next scene, Hannah does not fail to notice how out of hand things have become, as she stares at the wedding dress Mrs. Kent bought for her. Will exclaims when he sees the wedding dress. Hannah, although physically calm, is far away from being calm on the inside. She informs Will that she stopped looking at the price tag when it passed 5 digits. In a beautiful moment, they try to reassure themselves and promise to get over their problems together. When they recollect themselves, they separate and awkwardly apologize. Will informs Hannah of Tyson's visit and his plans to interview them. It doesn't go down well with Hannah and reminds him that their relationship is fake. Will does not understand the change in her mood. She caresses the ring on her finger as she decides to keep playing her part by agreeing to do the interview. She tells him to schedule it immediately, and he promises her that it will be the last interview they will have. It's interview day, and they are both ready for it. The host introduces them and goes ahead with the questions. She asks Will what happened between him and Kelsey. Will explains that the relationship didn't work out between them, so he and Kelsey are only friends. They try to keep the interview as superficial as they can, but the show's organizers decide to shake things up by inviting Kelsey to the interview to share her perspective. Will and Hannah are not excited to see her, as they were not given a heads up that she had been invited. Whilst facing the cameras and her 3 million plus followers on social media, Kelsey proceeds to spill the truth about Hannah and Will's relationship. She informs Dater that the two supposed lovebirds are faking their engagement, solely to save Will's company. Dater asks Hannah and Will to respond to the accusation. They deny the accusation and tell Dater that they are in love with each other. Kelsey is unable to hold her laughter at their white lie. She reminds Will that she knows him very well and can tell when he is lying. Will is infuriated and flares up at her. He accuses Kelsey of breaking up with him to her 3 million+ followers on social media without telling him first. He also accuses her of running when she found out that his company was struggling, instead of staying like a loving fiancé would. Kelsey is affronted by his accusation and tries to shout back at him. Hannah, who is tired of the fighting, decides to let the cat out of the bag. She tells her dad that she would do anything to save their store, and also apologizes to Will's parents for deceiving them with their fake engagement. She also apologizes to her fans for disappointing them. She also tells Will that she is sorry for failing to carry out her promise to him. She admits that there is no reality to all the fantasies she has been building in her mind, so she returns the ring to Will. She walks out of the set with her father and friend. Will tries to stop her, but she does not heed his call. He stays back to wonder how everything went wrong so quickly. Tyson cuts the cameras at this point. Infuriated, Dater yells at him for wrecking the lives of two wonderful people. Hannah beats herself up over embarrassing herself twice on national TV. Jim tells her that he is proud of her for telling the truth. He reassures her that even if their shop closes, they will always go through life together. Will shows up outside Sweet Nights and calls Hannah to fulfill his promise. Hannah is pleased to see him, and they take a walk. He informs her that he has resigned as CEO of his company and offers to invest in her father's shop with some part of his settlement. He informs her that the offer comes with no strings attached, but Hannah prefers to have him alongside the offer. Will informs her that even though they all pretended on the show, their love is what makes everything real. He shows her the engagement ring she chose at the jewelry store. She is touched that he remembered the ring, and cannot believe her eyes when he goes down on a knee and pops the question to her. She replies yes and declares her love to him. Will slips the ring on her finger, and they hug and share a beautiful intimate moment. Leo, who is in a car parked nearby, is happy to see his boss finally engaged to the love of his life.